Good morning, everyone. I'm Mark Totten, U.S. Attorney for the Western District of Michigan. I have with me Jim Taraska, who is Special Agent in charge of FBI Michigan, and as we mentioned, the family as well. Today, I'm announcing multiple criminal charges against 3 Nigerian nationals who ran an international sextortion ring. Samuel Ogashi, age 22, Samson Ogashi, age 20, and Ezekiel Robert, age 19. The indictment, which was unsealed this morning, alleges these defendants targeted more than 100 victims, both minors and adults. One of the victims in this case was 17-year-old Jordan DeMay of Marquette, Michigan, who tragically took his life as a result of this crime. Jordan is referred to as Victim 1 in the indictment. As a standard practice, we don't name victims in our indictments, but I share his name with you at the request of his family, who is with me today and who will share a statement at the end. The extradition process is underway. We have received full cooperation from Nigerian officials who have been really just outstanding partners. I'll just add that this investigation is ongoing. We may bring future charges against other defendants. So let me just explain something about the type of crime at issue here, offer some details about the alleged scheme, and then identify the charges before turning it over to Special Agent in Charge Taraska. This criminal scheme involves a practice which is commonly referred to as sextortion. Sextortion is a type of blackmail where the perpetrator demands money or sexual favors from an individual by threatening to reveal evidence of their sexual activity. When sextortion occurs online, the perpetrator often pretends to be someone else and then persuades the victim to send compromising photos or perhaps engage in compromising conversation. The perpetrator then threatens to disclose those photos or the conversation if the victim doesn't provide either money or further sexual favors. Girls and women are often extorted to produce sexually explicit pictures, while boys and men are often extorted for money. The perpetrators can be here in the United States or really anywhere around the world. Now let me turn to the claims in this case, and I would ask you to just keep in mind that these are allegations and that a defendant is innocent unless and until proven guilty. A federal grand jury has alleged the following. The 3 defendants, Samuel Ogashi, Samson Ogashi, and Ezekiel Robert, purchased multiple hacked social media accounts. One of these hacked accounts was used to create the Instagram persona of Danny Roberts, the picture of whom was a young woman. And I'll just mention that Meta Platforms Incorporated, which of course is the parent company of both Facebook and Instagram, has been a good partner in this investigation, providing important information in a timely manner. Once Samuel Ogashi had the Instagram account, he used its messaging feature to communicate with 17-year-old Jordan DeMay. Over the course of a short conversation, Samuel Ogashi, pretending to be this young woman, persuaded Jordan DeMay to send a sexually explicit image of himself. As alleged, these defendants used online tools to research their victims, including where they lived, where they went to school, who their family and friends were. The defendants would then typically use pictures they obtained online through their research to create collages, combining the explicit picture that the victim provided with pictures of their victim's school, friends, and family. Once Samuel Ogashi had the sexually explicit image in hand, the indictment alleges that Ogashi then turned to extort Jordan DeMay for money. The following exchange from March 25th, 2022 appears in the indictment, and you should see it on your screen. So Danny Roberts, again, who is alleged to be Samuel Ogashi, says, "I have screenshot all your followers and tags. Can send this nudes to everyone, and also send your nudes your family and friends until it goes viral. All you have to do is to cooperate with me and I won't expose you. Are you going to cooperate with me? Just pay me RN, which means right now, and I won't expose you." And then Jordan, who is victim 1, responds, "How much?" And Danny Roberts says $1,000. Jordan DeMay then paid Samuel Ogashi what he had, which was $300. But Ogashi continued his threats to disclose the images to Jordan's family and friends. A little over 2 hours after the initial threat, the following exchange occurred. And again, you should see it on your screens. So Ogashi, as Danny Roberts says, goodbye. Enjoy your miserable life. And then Jordan, as victim one, responds, I'm KMSRN, which means I'm killing myself right now because of you. And Ogashi, as Danny Roberts, responds, good. Do that fast, or I'll make you do it. I swear to God. And Jordan DeMay then used a firearm to take his life. While I have shared with you this story, as I said earlier, the indictment alleges that these three defendants targeted more than 100 people and that there were multiple other victims, both minors and adults. Now let me turn to the charges in this case. The indictment includes 4 counts. Count 1 is against Samuel Ogashi for the crime of sexual exploitation and attempted sexual exploitation of a minor resulting in death. This crime carries a minimum of 30 years and a maximum of life. Counts 2 through 4 are against all 3 defendants. So count 2 is for the crime of conspiracy to sexually exploit minors, carries a minimum of 15 years, a maximum of 30. Count 3 is for the crime of conspiracy to distribute child pornography, carries a minimum of 5 years, a maximum of 20. And count 4 is for the crime of conspiracy to commit stalking through the internet. This crime has no minimum penalty. The maximum penalty is 5 years. In terms of the next steps here, the extradition process is now underway. Late last week, the Nigerian Attorney General filed the necessary paperwork in a Nigerian court. This process can take several months, and of course, I want to say that extradition is never a certainty. With that, I want to turn it over to Special Agent in charge of FBI Michigan, James Taraska. But before I do, I just want to say thank you to Jim and his team for their extraordinary investigative work that made this case possible. You know, I've had the chance to sit down personally with the agents who built this case, and the work that they did is nothing short of phenomenal. A complex international case like this doesn't just happen. It takes incredible persistence. In this case, that meant FBI Michigan being on the ground in Nigeria, working closely with our Nigerian partners. We are all safer because of their careful, smart, and unrelenting work. And while I'm at it, I also want to say thank you to Sheriff Seibert of the Marquette County Sheriff's Office, who was the first to respond to this matter in Marquette. I've asked Jim if he would say something about the case, our partners, and how we can all protect ourselves from these type of crimes. Jim, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mark. Good morning. I'm Jim Taraska. I'm the Special Agent in charge of the FBI Michigan. I would like to thank Mark as well, U.S. Attorney, for his partnership and leadership throughout this investigation. Thank you, Mark. And as always, to the media for being in attendance today, for bringing this very important topic to light and passing our message. Thank you. I stood in front of you in February and talked about the increase in the number of sextortion reports received by the FBI over the last calendar year. At that time, Jordan's case was at the forefront of my mind because I knew how hard our agents and professional staff in Marquette and across the state were working to find answers for his family. I want to say a little more about the investigators involved in this case. The FBI in Michigan has 12 offices. Our headquarters is in Detroit. We have 11 satellite offices throughout the state, including Marquette. Marquette is our smallest office, and they are responsible for the entire Upper Peninsula. Less than a week after Jordan's death, the Marquette office opened an investigation into this unknown user who had been extorting him. This was a multifaceted investigation that involved identifying dozens of victims, following the digital breadcrumbs left behind by the sextortionists on the internet, tracking the payments made by victims through multiple financial entities, and working with their Nigerian counterpart, the Nigerian Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, to identify our subjects in Nigeria. In addition to all the work done in the United States, personnel from the FBI in Michigan traveled to Nigeria to further the investigation. It is through the Herculean effort of the FBI Marquette across Michigan and at headquarters in DC that we're here today, just a little over a year since Jordan's death, announcing charges against these subjects. And make no mistake, charges of this type brought against subjects outside of the United States are rare. Securing extradition of these subjects is even more rare. I cannot be more proud of the work done by the women and men of the FBI Michigan who are supported by the entire FBI along the way. This investigation required thousands of hours of investigative work, and the techniques used and refined during this investigation will serve as a framework for disrupting criminal groups who engage in sextortion schemes going forward. I'd also like to take a moment to thank Assistant Director and Head of the International Cooperation Department, Antoinette Ochiobi, Principal Prosecutor Pius Aktua, and the men and women of the Central Authority of Nigeria's Ministry of Justice, and the Attorney General of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Also, Honorable Chair and Chief Executive Abdul Rashid Bawa, and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, and Abdul Karim Chukul, Director of Operations from the EFCC. I'm grateful for the partnership between the FBI and the Nigerian EFCC. I personally know many of the members of the EFCC, as I've worked with many of the same folks who we are currently working with in 2012 and 2013 when I was assigned to the U.S. Consulate in Lagos, Nigeria. They are an outstanding and professional organization and consistent, strong partner to the U.S. I really appreciate working with them and crossing paths with them again. Lastly, I would also like to thank Jordan's family for their support and patience. Without their support, we may not be here today. I'm urging young people and their caregivers to educate themselves about this crime and help us protect others from being victimized. And if you have been financially sextorted, remember, the predator is to blame, not your child or you. Report the predator's account via the platform safety feature. Block the predator, but do not delete the profile or messages, because that information can be extremely helpful to law enforcement in identifying and stopping them. Ask for help from a trusted adult or law enforcement before sending money or more images. Cooperating rarely stops the blackmail and harassment, but law enforcement can. Our partners at the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children have a program called Take It Down that can help victims mitigate the spread of their images online. If you're not ready to speak to the FBI, go to another trusted adult. Say you're being victimized online and need help. Talking about this can feel impossible, but there are people who want to help you. If you're ready to report, or you're a bystander who suspects a person you know is a victim of a perpetrator, reach out to the FBI 1-800-CALL-FBI or report the crime online at tips.fbi.gov. Thank you again for being here today.
Thanks so much, Jim. I'll also just add my thanks to the many attorneys and support staff in my office who were part of this team and made this case possible and will continue to be part of the prosecution. Sextortion is a horrible crime. It can leave especially younger victims feeling ashamed and like they have nowhere to turn. To those who are engaging in this crime, we will travel the world to find you and hold you accountable. To those who use social media or have kids who do, be vigilant and take to heart the advice that we've shared. And to those who are victims of this crime, please, please reach out for help. You're not alone. I now want to introduce to you Jordan DeMay's family. We have with us Jordan's mother, Jennifer Buta, and his father, John DeMay. I've had the opportunity to meet with Jordan's family and to learn more about their son, who from everything I've learned was just an extraordinary person. I'm really so grateful for their courage and their resolve that Jordan's death would not be just a mere statistic, but will really be a wake-up call for everyone who hears his story. The parents are not going to talk with you about the case or the defendants, but they will tell you something now about their son and this experience. And with that, I want to turn it over to Jordan's mother, Jennifer, who has prepared a statement. Jennifer?
Good morning. Thank you. My name is Jennifer Buda. I am Jordan DeMay's mom. I am here today with Jordan's dad, John, his stepmom, Jessica, and his stepdad, Chuck. As a family, we've waited for a moment to speak to everyone about Jordan. The last year without Jordan has seemed to pass by so quickly, and yet it was the longest 13 months of our lives. Our hearts will forever be broken with a huge part of our lives missing. Jordan was a son, a brother, a grandson, a friend, a student, a coworker, and a role model. He was the perfect mix of fun-loving and hardworking. He played hard, he loved hard, and he never held back. If you caught Jordan on a summer day, he'd likely be cruising in his car with the music up, taking in as much sun as he could at the beach and dancing without a care in the world. Jordan's smile could light up any room. Jordan's charm and beautiful smile were contagious, drawing people to him wherever he went and leaving a lasting impression on everyone he met. He wanted to connect and be everyone's friend, and he did just that. As parents, we cannot begin to imagine what Jordan went through that night and how scared he was because of this senseless act. When we were informed that Jordan was potentially a victim of an internet scam called sextortion via Instagram, there was never a hesitation in our minds to share his story. We wanted everyone to be aware about sextortion and have those tough conversations with their families, so if it did happen to them, they knew to talk to someone. Immediately, many families reached out to support us as their family had went through this. We received countless messages from families afterwards that their child was being pursued online, and because we shared Jordan's story, those children went to their parents for help. We want to thank our family, our friends, our community, and the many people near and far who've been there for us throughout this unimaginable time. We are humbled by the overwhelming support you have given to our families, and we have so much love for all of you. We are here today because of the outstanding efforts by multiple agencies that worked together on Jordan's case over the last year. We want to express our gratitude to the Marquette County Sheriff's Department, the Michigan State Police, Marquette Township Fire Department, Marquette City Police, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the United States Attorney's Office, and the Department of Justice. We also want to thank the Nigerian government and their law enforcement for their cooperation. We know that this was no small task, and your commitment to Jordan's case will make us forever grateful. Each and every person who touched this case needs to be commended for their dedication and resiliency that got us where we are today. Our focus going forward is to bring more awareness to children, young adults, and parents. Our family has forever been changed by this heinous crime, and our objective is to prevent another individual from being victimized. Kids, teenagers, young adults, and even adults can be a target of sextortion. We urge you to have discussions about this and have a plan for your children to reach out if it does happen to them. Jordan will never be forgotten. He will forever be in our hearts and will drive us forward to share his story and help others. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Jennifer. I will turn it over to Tiff now, and am happy to take a few questions.
Sorry, I was trying to get myself off of mute. Okay. Again, so we'll take a couple of questions. Please use the raise your hand function. Looks like we have a question from Luke Barr.
Hey guys, thanks so much for doing this. I wanted to ask maybe Jim or even Mark can maybe talk about the prevalence of these sextortion scams. How often are they occurring, And where are they coming from? Are they primarily coming from Nigeria? Are they primarily coming from in the United States? Can you talk a little bit about sort of generally where these are coming from and the prevalence of them?
Jim, maybe you can start on that one.
Sure, Mark. Thank you. Thanks for that question. It's a disturbing trend that we've been seeing across the country, and for that matter, internationally. The culprits aren't just in Nigeria; they are like many cyber-based scams throughout the world, from other countries. Some are right here in the United States. So it is an opportunity for people to make money. Far gone are the days of the letters or the faxes. People are using technology now to commit these scams. I don't have any numbers right now, but it certainly is on the rise. And this is just a great case that shows our dedication to mitigating it and trying to put a stop to it, to send this message. And again, thanks to the media for spreading this message to not just the folks in the United States here, but internationally. We will go after the culprits of these sextortions. This is extremely serious. You can see the seriousness that we've taken it, and we will do our best to mitigate it and in Jordan's name to spread this word, and with his family support, I'm sure they'll be out there doing the same. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Shannon, TV6.
Hi, thank you for allowing us to ask some questions. TV6 is based in Marquette County, so this is a fairly close case for us, and we work a lot with Sheriff Zybert. Could you please tell us, what Sheriff Zybert did right and what other local authorities can learn from the action he and his department took after Jordan died?
So Shannon, I'm happy to circle back and maybe share a few more details about that. I don't know that I was involved at that very early stage of it, so I don't know I'm equipped to respond to that. And Jim, if you have anything to add, please do. I can say that, Sheriff Zybert has been a great partner for our office in many ways. I've talked with him personally several times about this case. We touched base just last night, and he was a first responder on the scene, helping get this process underway, making sure all the right people that needed to be involved were involved. Jim, anything you want to add?
Yes, Mark, thank you. Again, this just goes hand in hand with our constant message of our partnerships. Sheriffs and chiefs and our partners throughout the state know that the FBI will be there to assist, support wherever we can. In this case, Sheriff did an outstanding job of, as a first responder, securing the crime scene, getting the FBI involved early on to investigate with them, in conjunction with them, and as partners. So just an amazing job and an amazing partner. Sheriff, thank you.
Thank you. Rose with MLive.
Hello. Thanks for taking some questions. I just had a few quick questions. Was Jordan the only Michigan victim, and were all the other victims based in the United States?
When we refer to over 100 victims, the ones I was referring to are United States-based victims. I'm not in a position to comment about whether there were any beyond that. I think I'll need to circle back with you, Rose, to see if there were any other Michigan victims. I'm going to need to stick to what is in our pleadings, and I'm just not remembering at this moment. But we can confirm that with you.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you. And was it Jordan's death that kicked off the investigation into these 3 Nigerian men?
Jim, you want to respond?
Sure. It was. This, our investigators, our agents, and our support staff out of Marquette throughout Michigan conducted this investigation with to the individuals in Nigeria. This case directly led to them, and through our continuing investigation, we will continue to identify other victims associated with this specific group. But it was the case out of FBI Michigan, out of Marquette, that led to these charges.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a couple more minutes. Do we have any additional questions? Okay. Shannon, did you have another question with TV6?
Yeah, sorry, we have a few. I think one of the main ones is, the UP is pretty close-knit as a community. what do you hope that this news of an indictment will do for the UP, the family, but also for victims of sextortion?
Let me share a couple of thoughts, and then Jim, you're probably going to want to share a few thoughts as well. I can just say that my office and my team is really committed to making sure that we are present in and representing the interests of the Upper Peninsula. The Western District of Michigan covers all of the Upper Peninsula, and then the western half of the Lower Peninsula. Our main office is in Grand Rapids, and then we have a Marquette office with 7 people. I've been on the job almost a year. In 2 days, it will be a year. And I've been up to Marquette 3 times. I've got a couple other trips planned. I've seen Jim up there a few times. I know he's up there all the time as well. And there's a really strong commitment to making sure that the Upper Peninsula has the law enforcement and protection from our office that it needs. And I think the other thing I'll say in terms of just like message moving forward is what you've heard the family say, what you heard Jim say, what I mentioned is we just want victims to know that when this happens, it can feel like there's nowhere to turn. And there are just so many people that want to help in this situation and are ready to do so. And we just want to encourage people that find themselves in that place to reach out for those who can help. Jim, you want to add something?
Yeah, thank you, Mark. Again, this is an amazing investigation. A lot of work went into it. At the end of the day, the message is to everyone out there listening, and please spread it. Mark, you just touched on it. If you're a victim, you are not alone. Please report it. I know there's a lot of shame and embarrassment that comes along with this, but it happens. It happens to everybody. This case and the message that comes with it will certainly prevent other juveniles and adults alike from taking those steps to ending their lives out of shame. We will continue spreading that message. I know the DeMay family certainly will be doing that. We've talked at length, Mark and I have, our investigators over time. They will spread that message in his name. His name will live on. He will not be forgotten. He will absolutely prevent others from taking their lives. So it spreads the message that there's partnership to law enforcement. We do absolutely work together on everything. And the FBI throughout Michigan are there to serve the public, to protect the public, and to support our partners in anything they need. So that's the message we want to send. So thank you again for spreading that.
Thank you so much. I think my final question for you both is just a clarification. We know that extradition can be a long process, but where would these people be extradited to in the state if they are?
So they've been charged here in the Western District of Michigan, and so they would be, assuming the extradition is successful, they would, the next step after extradition would be they would have their initial appearance here in Michigan. I'm not sure yet exactly where that would be, but it would certainly be here in the state, in the Western District.
Okay, thank you. I think that's all I have for you. Thank you so much.
Yep, thanks, Shannon.
Okay. That'll wrap up our Q&A portion. So again, thanks, Mark. Thanks, Jim. And a huge thank you to the family. Thank you for joining, everybody. Have a great day.